Brian Armstrong TV, Brian Armstrong Sports. Nebraska, Colorado. Nebraska, Colorado, and yes, sir, I'm an Arkansas Razorbacks fan. I was born and raised in the state of Arkansas. This is to the death, baby. So yeah, it's an Arkansas Razorback fan talking about the Colorado Nebraska game. Now, I'm not gonna talk about it from a standpoint that you may expect stats and all that. What I want to talk about is respect for tradition versus this. History versus this. Okay. I didn't even watch the whole game. I turned it off at halftime because I knew it was over. Let's start from when Shedeur Sanders first ran onto the field. Let's start from when Shedeur Sanders first ran onto the field. Like this here. Okay. You coming on the field, and this is not a knock against him because he a young dude, not knocking him. He doing what young guys do. Young people do what young people do. But what I'm talking about is respect for when you're going against 85,000 fans, which I believe is what the capacity is for that stadium. 85,000 people who are coming into that game with a legitimate dislike or friendly rivalry, on the football field for the program Colorado. They're not coming on the field with this. They're coming on the field with, we want to beat this team. Adding to that, we want to beat them for what they did to us last year, right? And show the difference between our program and this program. That's okay. You got people who've been watching Nebraska football since the 1980s, 70s. Let's go to the 80s. You still got people alive from the 70s and 60s, I'm sure, who've been watching that program since then. But you got players on that team who grew up, that are walk-ons, that probably grew up sitting on their grandfather's lap watching Nebraska football since they've been 2 years old. You think you're going to beat this team that's coming with that kind of passion versus a guy who's getting in a Cybertruck who probably don't even know the history of this rivalry, don't respect this rivalry for what it is and what it means to the two states? No, you cannot beat them. I knew it when he first ran on the field and I listened to the roar of that crowd. Before a play even started, I knew Colorado couldn't win that game. Passion, respect for tradition, respect for everything that came before them, before that night, is what they were facing. And most of the time when I make videos about events that happen in the world, I use them for teaching moments. This is what happens when you put a group of people who got respect for the past and tradition versus people who do not. You can't beat that because when shit get tough, you don't have nothing else to fight for. If your whole thing is, when it get thick, what you gonna do? go in the locker room and look at your watch, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. And look, we blew it against Oklahoma State. We blew it. And I'm going to make a video about this too. But I will say, for any Arkansas fans, don't fold, don't give up on the squad, man. We showed something in that game. We just didn't finish. It's part of growing up and maturing and learning how to win. But that's another video. But Colorado didn't stand a chance. Not only because they don't have no defensive line and no offensive line, they can't create no pressure, and they can't block. They can't keep no pressure off their quarterback. College, what I love about college football is the passion behind it. What I spoke about earlier. The kid that's been watching like Alabama. You know Alabama is so successful. It's so hard to be a coach there. Because the people there have been loving that program for years and years and years and years. Because I drive trucks. I go to Alabama, I go get gas, and it's a man there talking to me about Alabama football. He's a mechanic. But he know everything it is about the history of that program. He's a mechanic there. He don't got nothing to do with the actual program. But he knows the history of it, and he respects it. He's a part of it as a fan. You can't march a bunch of transfer players who have no respect for the history of the rivalry between Colorado and Nebraska into a away game against a bunch of people who trying to beat you not because you Shedeur Sanders or Deion Sanders or Travis Hunter or Jimmy Horn. They're trying to beat you because you're Colorado. That's why they're trying to beat you. And you can speak about race and culture. See, that taught a lesson about race and culture. When you got black people who are fighting for this and playing for this versus black and white who are fighting for the insignia on their helmet and the passion of all them 85,000 people in their stands, you don't stand a chance. Mark my words, the programs going forward that will be successful are those who have passion and belief and care for what came before them. All the transfers and mercenaries, you will see more of what you saw last night. A straight up butt whooping. Because you don't have nothing to fight for except for yourself and your NIL deal and your aspirations to make it to the pros. Past that, it don't mean nothing to you. So when it get thick, you have nothing to fight for. They didn't stand a chance from the beginning. They lost that game way before they got in that stadium. They already had lost. That's what I want y'all to realize. Watch the college football season. You already see teams beating ranked teams. Why? Now because you got 12 slots. So now the competition is, the opportunity to win is much, the window for opportunity to be successful is a lot wider now. So all those teams with veteran players and respect for the university and look, I know, get your money, okay, but that's not enough, man. It's not enough in competition. Individualism and what you want for yourself individually is not enough to succeed in something that entails a group of people. you'll lose every time. That's why Colorado lost. They didn't stand a chance before before the first whistle was blown for the first play. They already were done because it's a walk on that Nebraska roster that probably made them dudes understand this means something to us. The energy in the stadium let them know, oh, this ain't about NIL. This ain't about none of this. The people in them stands that live in them fields and cornfields out there that'll never be known, never be recognized, never get no recognition for nothing. That's their opportunity to be felt as a people. And that'll always be Brian Armstrong TV, Brian Armstrong Sports.